Hi. Today I'm going to talk to you about a few books that I have enjoyed, and I think that you might enjoy also. If you appreciate books in which the characters act and behave like teenagers, and if you also like books featuring female identified characters who refuse to be, let the world make them feel smaller, and also fight for what they want and don't give up. So the first one of those books is Dumpling. Now, as you know, on here, it's also been turned into a Netflix movie, but I highly recommend reading or listening to it. It features the character Willow Dean, who is a strong-willed character, strong-willed, very individualistic, loves Dolly Parton, and also happens to have a crush on her coworker at the local diner that she works at in her small Texas town. Now, Willow Dean's mom is also a former beauty pageant contestant and winner, and is also very much still involved in the beauty pageant that goes on every single year in Willow Dean's town. Now, it happens to be a really big deal, and Willow Dean's mom puts in a lot of effort and a lot of time. So Willow Dean often spent a lot of time growing up with her Aunt Lucy, who she loved and adored. Now, Aunt Lucy has most recently passed, and Willow Dean and her mom are fighting a lot about that. Willow Dean and her mom also fight a lot about Willow Dean's weight, as well as now, in addition to Aunt Lucy's weight, because Willow Dean's mom feels like Aunt Lucy died because of her weight. One day, this finally comes to a head, and Willow Dean decides to thumb her nose at her mom, so to speak, and enrolls in this beauty pageant, and then decides to make a point to her mom and to all of the contestants, or the judges, I should say, in this beauty pageant, that your version of beauty doesn't necessarily have to be everyone else's version of beauty. And so I think this book is a great book for anybody who feels kind of out of place and wants to kind of buck the norms of society, whatever expectations are. And Willow doesn't feel insecure about her weight. She just feels insecure about what others think about her weight. Like, for instance, Bo, the handsome guy that she has a crush on. But you're just going to have to read the book to find out. Now, the second book I have for y'all is Leah on the Offbeat, which is not a sequel to Simon versus the Homo sapien Agenda, if you're familiar with it, but just features a different character, Leah, Simon's best friend, who, if you're familiar with Leah from Simon, you might know that she's also very strong-willed and very opinionated, and she would do anything for her friends. And she would certainly never keep secrets from her friends, right? Except for this really big one, that she's bisexual. She has not told any of her friends, including her best friend Simon, who is gay. Now, and the other problem with this is that she also has a crush on one of her friends, Abby, which you probably also remember from Simon. And even if you don't, I should stress that you do not need to have read Simon to understand this book. But Abby is also a big part of their friend group. And also, Leah thinks, probably straight and dating their other friend, Nick. This gets a little complicated. The only one that knows that Leah is bi is her mom, but her mom is dating somebody new and seems to be sort of unavailable for Leah to not offshoot, but talk about her problems with her mom. Now, then things keep on going, and Leah's in this band and she's applied to schools. Then she finds out she gets into a school that Abby has also gotten into. Abby suggests that they go on a field trip to this university, check it out, and Leah's like, sure, let's do it. You're dating Nick. What's the worst that could happen? But then Nick and Abby break up, and Abby begins acting, more more friendly. Maybe she has a crush on Leah. We're not sure entirely. So you'll have to read the book to find out what actually happens on this trip. If, Leah gets the girl, does the whole friend group break up? But this is definitely another book for you if you're feeling sort of out of place, you're feeling like some people don't get you, or, you're strong-willed and opinionated, and sometimes people don't get that. I would highly suggest reading this book. Now, the third book I have for you is a little bit different, but also features a strong-willed female identified character who also has a tricky relationship with her parents as well. And that book is I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter. Now, Julia has a perfect older sister named Olga, or at least she used to, and then Olga died. Now, everyone is still grieving when we approach this story, including Julia, but her parents have now placed all of their expectations about what they wanted for Olga onto Julia, and they want Julia to be the perfect Mexican daughter, to stay home like Olga did, to go to community college like Olga did, so she can be there for her parents, to have a great, nice Mexican-American boyfriend that she'll eventually marry, and they'll have grandchildren. Now, Julia just wants to be a regular teenager here in America. Now, in her, in one of the times in which she's punished by her parents for not being that perfect Mexican daughter, she makes a discovery about her older sister, Olga, that leads her to believe that Olga might have not been that perfect daughter that her parents wanted her to be. So that leads her down her journey, in which she finds out a little bit about the story of her parents coming to America, a little bit more about Olga and who she was, and most importantly, more about herself. And I really think this is a great story if you're having trouble with your parents about the expectations that they have for you, or if you have that perfect older sister who can't seem to do any wrong, you're going to see yourself in this story. So I highly recommend any of these books for you if you want very realistic stories, teenagers that, act and talk like like everyday teenagers. I think these are for you. So if you want to check out any of these books, feel free to visit us at the Arapahoe Libraries, or you can download them on Overdrive. And if you do stop by, please definitely come by and say hi.